Mother's Day.
Good
Yay. All
morning.
right. Okay. So we either are a mother, raise your hands. Woo! Okay. Or we have a mother. Raise your hands. Woo! Okay, all right. That should be everybody, okay? Unless you are some alien dropped in from outer space. And if you are, it's news to me. So please do stand up, identify yourself so we can all feel safe around you. Okay. All right. Mike, take it away.
Yes. Good morning, everyone, and happy Mother's Day. Thank you for joining us in this spirit of perfect harmony. We are the Center for Spiritual Living, West Georgia. Together, we study and practice the philosophy and science of the mind we know as God. And with our spiritual presence and participation in our service this morning, we create a higher state of consciousness, rise above any negative energy that may have prevailed this past week, and manifest love. We know love is synonymous to God. Our master teacher, Reverend Dr. Sandra Jackson, will now proceed with our service. Reverend?
Thank you, Mike. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Good morning, everybody. Once again, happy Mother's Day. Let us just simply take a moment to do what we always do, the way we always begin our service, by recognizing, realizing, and knowing that right where we are, God is. God is. That in this very moment, with every breath we take, the very life of God moves in us and through us and as us. It is the perfection, the wholeness, and it is the very love that we are. So we open our hearts and minds this day to be fully and completely available to it, to its absolute creative force within us, its power, its wisdom, its intelligence, its joy, its love. All of that we experience in our life comes from that infinite source. It is the very life that we live. And so we breathe into it this morning with deep gratitude and thanksgiving. As we begin our service today, we do so knowing that whatever it is we are here for, that it is the message that is received by our own heart. And we rejoice knowing that it is already done. It is already done. And it is only for us to recognize and to remember who we are. And so it is. Amen. Okay, so let us begin. Marcia, take it away. Okay, our vision and mission this morning.
CSL West Georgia is a joyful global community where everyone belongs. Through our unique spiritual teachings, we provide a safe environment to experience compassionate living. And our declaration of principles: I believe in the unity of all life, and that the highest God and the innermost God is one God. There is one life of which I am a part, one intelligence which I use, and one substance which take form as my life. And so it is.
Thank you, Marcia. Okay, so it's time for our soloist this morning is Susan Molhini Kane, all the way from Southern California. Look at it. And you see her background, you guys? That is her wall. It is not a background. It's a picture that she took and had made into a wall. Is that fabulous? Oh, all right. So go ahead, Susan. Begin. Thank you.
Happy Mother's Day, and thank you all. This is a song that I wrote. I was raised by my grandmother, so this is a song that I wrote for her. I hear you in the kitchen feel your warmth around me. I see the love in your eyes, and I wonder what you're thinking. That always makes me feel so nice. Oh, I remember what you taught me, cards and coins and Yahtzee cries. I remember you taught me how to pray, how you love the farm and the music and me. Well, you're no longer in the kitchen making apple pies, and they sold the farm some years ago. It's funny how time flies. Still I wonder what you think today as you look out into the light. Oh, I remember what you taught me, songs and secrets and lullabies. I remember you taught me how to sing, how you love the garden, the music, and me. Well, now I'm rarely in the kitchen making apple pies, and I'm living in the city, far from the country skies. But I still pray and sing like you taught me, and I know you'd be proud of my life. Oh, I remember what you taught me, cards and coins and Yahtzee cries. I remember you taught me how to pray, how you love the farm and the music and me. Whoa, I remember what you taught me, songs and secrets and lullabies. I remember you taught me how to sing, how you love the garden, the music, and me. Whoa, thank you, Grandma. I love you too. Thank you, Grandma. I'll never forget you.
Now I know why Marcia said she didn't want to get to the end of that song when you guys were warming up this morning. Thanks for being long enough to move me off of my own tears and remembrance of my own grandmother. Thank you, Susan. Yeah. Okay, so lose my place sometimes because of what is going on. Lily.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Happy Mother's Day to all. The reading today is from How It Works by Gary Zukav, and the reading is from the chapter entitled Love. The enormous redwood tree, ancient and failing, trembled. With the cracking, tearing sound, the unimaginable began to happen. Near the base, one side of the giant trunk began to crumble, like the first 3 floors of a collapsing building. On the opposite side, more than 20 feet away, a split suddenly appeared in the massive bark. The split grew vertically, slowly for a moment, then more rapidly as it widened. Ever so slowly, the mountain of wood, thousands of years old, began to move. In a canopy hundreds of feet above the forest floor, the top swayed in the wind. But this time, when it reached the end of its sway, it continued downward. The ripping, tearing sound grew until it was louder than the roar of a freight train. Tons of fiber, centuries in the making, started their last journey. As the giant fell, it sheared huge branches, larger than oak trees from neighboring redwoods. Down and down it fell with awesome force. Nothing could stop it now, and nothing did. It hit the forest floor, bounced once, and came to a final rest. The thunder fell silent. In a few moments, thousands of years of reaching toward the sun ended in one final embrace of the earth. Slowly, the sounds of the forest returned. Insects buzzed and leaves rustled in the breeze. Small animals reappeared cautiously, and larger animals began to move again. This is a part of a love story. The leaves, the trunk, the branches, and the roots were in love with each other. Their love was continual. New leaves gently replaced those that turned brown. The redwood remained green for centuries, but none of the leaves on it were centuries old. The bark loved the roots, and the roots loved the branches. The tree held them together, and the leaves nourished them all. The love story of the redwood tree has other characters in it too. It loved the earth and the sky. It reached for both from the moment it sprouted to the moment of its dramatic fall. It loved the birds that nested in its branches, the animals that sheltered beneath it, and the insects that fed from its bark. They were, they were one family, full and complete. Does this story sound familiar? It should. You see it everywhere you look, inside and out. The cells in your body love each other. Your blood loves your heart and your lungs. Your spine loves your brain. Your body is a love story that continues day after day. Every part of your body gives what other parts need and receives from them what it needs. You are walking, talking story of love. Every love story is part of a larger love story. And every love story, no matter how large or small, has endless stories of love within it. The universe has countless galaxies. Each galaxy has countless stars. Each star has countless molecules, atoms, and subatomic particles dancing within it, becoming one with another, splitting apart in different ways and coming together again. The biggest love story has no beginning, like we do, and like redwood trees do. It doesn't have an end either. We are parts of the story. Sometimes when we glimpse it, we are awed and delighted. Scientists call this big love story interconnectivity. Nothing exists without everything else. When we think that anything can exist without us, it is because we are only seeing a small part of a few love stories. Sometimes we don't even see our own. Love and reverence go together. When you see the big love story, you realize that you are in everyone's story, and everyone and everything is in yours. Even people you haven't met yet are part of your story, and you are part of theirs. Their suffering is a part of your story, and their happiness too. Your suffering and happiness are part of theirs. The big love story includes everything. When your story becomes everyone's story and everyone's story becomes yours, that is love. And so it is.
And so it is.
So it is.
Thank you, Lily.
You're welcome.
Zizi called me during the week and told me about a movie she had seen on Netflix called, I think it's called Intelligent Trees. Anyway, I had already picked out this story and I thought, oh, let me look at that movie and see what it has, because she was really excited about it. It's a movie about trees and how scientists have discovered that trees actually talk to each other and nourish each other and care for each other. There's a tree in the forest that is the mother tree. The mother tree?
The mother tree.
And it nourishes and spreads its branches out, its roots out. And the roots of the various systems, they talk to each other and they relate to each other. And they are healthy together. And then we go in and we cut them down. And when we cut them down, the forest is no longer healthy. And so in the movie, they showed pictures of a healthy forest where the mother tree was nourishing and the disease tree where the trees were disconnected because they were not in touch with the mother tree and with the other trees around it. See, trees need each other, and we need each other. All of life is here together, connected in a oneness, and each has its role to play, its responsibility, its expression, and it's different. Each tree in the forest has something different. They reach towards the sky, for the sunlight, and the smaller trees are protected by the larger trees. And yet at the same time, one of the things they were saying is how the trees move out so that the smaller trees, the younger trees, can get light so that they can grow and expand. And we do that with one another if we love people. The people we love, we do that with. So, but we use the word love so casually. Think about it. We think about how we love our homes. We love our dogs and our cats, our other animals. We love our car. How many times have you said that? I love the city I live in. I love the gym that I go to. I love the activities that I do, such as gardening and traveling and going to the movies. I love all these things. And then we say, I love my friends. I love my family. I love the people in my life. Now, how can we use love for all of these things? He just used love for trees loving each other, okay? In the story, he's talking about your cells or your body loving each other. And we're talking about, oh, we love cars. Come on, people, right? Is loving a car the same as loving, your mother or your father or your siblings or your children or your friends, your coworkers, the other people in your life? It's not the same, is it? We know it's not, but yet at the same time, we use it. I wonder, this just occurred to me. Why do we use the word love so much? If it's about connection, then we're using the word saying we have this connection with, and it's our word for connecting with one another, like air connects us because we're all breathing the same air, right? So, the thing is that I think, however, that we have a hard time saying that we love some people. Think about that. I want you to think about somebody that you love right now. Anybody, could be anybody. Your parents, somebody who's alive or dead, doesn't matter. Just somebody that you love. Just think about that. Somebody who is human, not a dog, not a cat, not your car, but a human person. Think of someone that you love. I want you to keep that person in mind. Okay? And now, think about somebody who you don't love, who maybe you don't even like them. Think about the difference between the person that you love and the person that you don't love. Okay? People who we don't love force us to grow and expand because the people that we love agree with us, right? They support us. They're around us in a way that allows us to feel comfortable. But the people that we don't like, the people who are difficult for us to live with and to love, these are the people who force us to grow and expand. They don't always return our love. Even if we love them, they don't always return our love. And people in our world, they disappoint us, don't they? They disagree with us. They disturb us with our beliefs, okay? They push us in ways that we may not like. The people who we love and who are around us all the time and we're comfortable with, they don't necessarily push us that way. Why? Because they want to maintain that connectedness, right? They don't want to rock the boat, so to speak. They want to have the nice, comfortable agreeable experience with life that you are having. But everybody can't be that way if we're going to love. Like the trees in the forest, they don't say, well, you're kind of small and straggly, so I'm not going to love you. Or you're too tall and you're blocking my light, so I'm not going to love you. It's like, no, they're interconnected. They're harmoniously living together in a unity and in a oneness that allows all of them to flourish, but in their own way. In their own way. So the thing is the people that we love, they're flourishing in their own way. The only thing is we agree with how they're flourishing. But the people that we don't love, they're flourishing too, but they're not necessarily flourishing in the way that we want them to, because we have this tendency to make decisions about who we love and who we don't love based upon the conditions that they are doing, things that they're doing, how they're living their life, how they're being in the world. And I'm willing to bet that if the people that you love did the things that you did not like, you would do one of two things. You would start reevaluating the relationship and whether or not you should be in it. That's one thing. But the other thing is you would go, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. Let's talk about that. Why did you do that? What happened that caused you to do this thing? You would work on the relationship. You would want to restore it. You would want to do whatever you could in order to continue that relationship, wouldn't you? Shake your head, yes. Okay. Because this is a relationship that you're happy with. This is one that brings you joy. This is the person that you love. And so you will forgive them for things that you will not forgive the person that you don't like. Stop and think about that. Valerie Kaur wrote a book called See No Stranger. I met her several years ago, while she was on her way to Harvard. It's been well over 10 years ago. Anyway, at the time she told the story about her family. Her family is a Sikh family, and she grew up on a farm in the Midwest somewhere. Anyway, in 9/11, after 9/11, some of the bombings that occurred in various places and some of the murders that took place with people were not Muslim. They were Sikh, because Sikhs wear the turban. You've probably seen them. They wear turbans, the men do, and they hide all their hair and they wear a turban, right? And people bombed them, people killed them because they thought they were Muslim. Sikhs are not Muslims. And so Valerie was at the time working through her, trying to understand why this was happening in her community, why people would not take the time to understand who are these people. They're not even killing the people they want to be killing, the ones that they think that should be the targets. Not that any of this is right at all, okay? But she says, love is more than a feeling. Love is a form of sweet labor. It is fierce, it is bloody, it is imperfect, and yet it is life-giving. It's a choice that we make over and over and over again. Every traditional religion, Christianity, Hinduism, Buddhism, New Thought, doesn't matter what it is, Zoroastrianism, all the Islam, all the various religions, they all teach what? One thing they all have in common, that you should love. That we all are responsible for loving one another. They say it in different ways. Almost all of them have the golden rule in some form or another. Jesus said, let us love one another as I have loved you. He gives us an example of how to love. He loved everybody. It didn't matter whether it was a Roman soldier or it was the rich man or the poor man. It was the person that needed to be healed, the person who, was hurt on the roadside. Didn't matter who it was. It was, you love everybody. But the only way we can love everybody, is to move from the level of conditions in the saying, this is how you have to be in order for me to love you, to the level of spirituality where you know that you are all one with one another. Scott Peck, in his book, Road Less Traveled, which is kind of a classic, he says in there that, we've tried to explain, define love for centuries. And he, wasn't going to, try to explain it for everybody for all time, but he did want to explain it for the way he was going to be using it in his book. And he says this: love is the will to extend oneself for the purpose of nurturing one's own or another's spiritual growth. I used that for years. I love that definition. Let me say it again. It is the will, your decision, okay, your will to extend oneself, to extend yourself, to push yourself out, to put yourself in a position where you can push out, you can extend yourself for the purpose, the intention of nurturing, caring for your own or another's spiritual growth. So when you extend yourself to love someone who you dislike, then what he's saying is that you are pushing yourself, your own spiritual growth, and you're also creating a space where they can grow spiritually too. Because when people, think about when you love somebody who, you thought you couldn't love, they change in their relationship to you. They really do. They may not change in relationship to anybody else, but they change in relationship to you. And if they can change in the relationship to you, what's happening? There's a spiritualness that's happening. There's something happening beneath the surface. And if they change in relationship to you somewhere else in their world, and this is not your responsibility, but someplace else in their world, there is changes as well. Because there's a ripple effect. Feel when you stop and think of when someone that you had a difficulty with and they started loving you, and you were like, I don't know, something's different about this person. Maybe you've been the target of their love. And so now, guess what's happening? You're changing, right? So Scott Peck says we have to be willing to extend ourselves for our loved ones, but not just for other ones. We have to be willing to extend to people who we dislike as well. So that we are all together here, folks. And we're all doing things that annoy other people. Believe me, we all do something that annoys somebody in the world, okay? And so therefore, it is up to us to decide, you know what? I'm going to love everybody as best I can. And Valerie calls this revolutionary love. And she says it's the choice to enter into wonder and labor for others, for our opponents and for ourselves in order to transform the world around us. It is an orientation to life that is personal and political. And guess what? It's rooted in joy. So love and joy come together. Just think about how we've all expanded our circles, right? We've all created larger circles and we've welcomed people in. 3 years ago, I didn't know any of you. Well, I knew some of you, but many of you I didn't even know 3 years ago. And yet I've expanded my circle to include of love, to include all of you, regardless of where you are, how long the relationship is, or any of that. Because that is, personally, that's who I am. I just do around loving people. Because why? Because that is what makes me, it makes me feel more joy to know that I have people in my life that I can love. And I personally like to expand that circle so that it's larger, larger than it was last week, last year, 3 years ago, 10 years ago. And you know, the thing is you look at Gloria and Madeline and Zizi and a few others who've known me for years. Why? Because we have a loving relationship that has lasted for years. And I hope that the relationships I have with those of you today will continue to last for many years also. Do you see? But don't you think they've done things that have upset me at times? And don't you think I've done things that have upset them? Yes. But you see, what happens when you love someone, you do what? You give them the space to be wrong, to make mistakes, to disagree with. Do you see? We have to learn to do that same thing with people that we don't like as well. But what we do is we say, I'm going to reserve these feelings and these reactions and these behaviors for these people, but we're going to exclude these people from having that experience of me. Love, everybody says, is an emotion, and they say it's all kinds of stuff. But I think love is spiritual connection. Because in the Bible it says God is love. And Thomas Troward said, love is harmony. And he says that the first principle of creative power, you're creating in the world, because you're always creating your experience, okay? So the first principle of creative power must be harmony. And it cannot be antagonizing, because you and I cannot be, if we're creating, we cannot be antagonizing itself from different centers, because the spirit is within us. And so spirit within you and the spirit within me cannot be antagonistic. It has to be what? In harmony. And what is harmony? It's some form of agreement. And what is agreement? It is some form of love. And so God is love. If God is love and we are one with God, come on, do the math, then we must be loved too. We have the capacity to love everybody, because we can look at everybody and know, just like each one of us has a mother, each one of us has a spirit. Each one of us has that spirit within us. And so therefore, if we look at who we are from the spiritual perspective, then we can be loved. We can be loved. But as Valerie says, it's a labor, it's work. It's work. And we have to challenge ourselves to extend ourselves beyond the beliefs that we've had, beyond the limitations that we have put on ourselves, and said, I can't love that person because that is the condition. Whatever comes after because is the condition. You're looking at who they are in the world. You're not seeing beyond what they're doing and being in the world to see the spirit within them. And believe me, believe this, beneath everybody, regardless of what they're doing, however misguided they are seeking to be loved. They are seeking to be loved. So here's the thing. This is some practices you can do for dealing with people that you don't like. You can use it on people that you do like too. Begin by saying namaste. Now, what does that mean? It means the Christ, the divine, the spirit in you greets the science, the Christ, the divine, the spirit, and I use any, because you can use any of those words. The point is that it's not It's not me, Sandra, that's greeting you. It's the Sandra, the divine Sandra, that is greeting you. Do you see? The divine in you. And so the divine in me greets the divine in you. The divine in me loves the divine in you. The divine in me nurtures the divine in you. The divine in me cares for the divine in you. You don't have to say this out loud to people. You just say it to yourself. You can say it in the car on your way to work when you're going and you're complaining about the boss and what they're doing and the people in the car next to you and all that. Just look over and say, well, you know, the divine in me greets the divine in you. And somewhere there is harmony, because guess what? We got to where we were going and we didn't have an accident. That's harmony. When I went to India, right? And I came back, and one of the biggest realizations that I had was that there is a harmony and a oneness that is so operative that in India, they had intersections where cars were going every which way and nobody hit each other. I mean, literally, they may have 6 different streets coming into an intersection, and cars, different kinds of cars. They have cars that we don't have, like tuk-tuks, and that tuk-tuks is just one kind. But then they got motorcycles, and sometimes you see elephants. Well, this was years ago, so I don't know if they still have this going on. But you know, they have elephants walking down the street. Okay, I got bumped by a bull while I was trying to load a bus. Okay, all this stuff is going on at the same time, and there's no accidents. There's no, I mean, I was there for what, 10 days? Not one accident did I see. The street corner down here, they have accidents all the time. They put lights up there to keep people from having an accident. Why? Because we in the West are attuned to what? We have to function by what we see, and they are somewhere in them is functioning at where they are living, where there is the spirit in them is guiding them, and they're living harmoniously together. Now, I'm not talking about all the problems they have. I'm not talking about all that. I'm just talking about my one experience of going to India and being totally overwhelmed just by the traffic. Oh, they also had, you know, those peddlers, the people who peddle with people in the back. They had bicycles, they had tuk-tuks, they had cars. You know, they had Western cars, they had Eastern cars, they had every kind of vehicle you could possibly imagine. And yet nobody got into an accident. That is amazing. And that to me is an example. Whenever I want to think about harmony, I think of that. When I think of Howard, and he says, you know, that harmony has to be the first harmony. That means we're all singing together. That's what musicians do. Susan understands that. Cynthia, Marcia, they all understand that. Harmony is what we're all singing together. We may be singing a little differently, but there's something that makes it all come together so that it doesn't sound discordant. And that's what life is supposed to be, where we all come together, being fully and completely who we are. And it comes together perfectly. Why? Because the spirit in me doesn't give Lily the same instruction. It doesn't, Mike and Chris, they don't have the same feelings about what they want to do in the world as one another or with any of the rest of us here. Each one of us is here to fulfill something that is not like the other. And our harmony is when we're all working, extending ourselves to be receptive and willing for others to be who they are. Not asking them to be who we want them to be. If we're going to love someone, we have to love them. If we're going to do revolutionary love, not ordinary love, but revolutionary. That love that is so powerful that you're willing to go out of your way for it, that you're willing to extend yourself and grow spiritually so that you can be inclusive of all others. That love takes work. That's a labor. So besides doing namaste, you can also just say, I wish you well. Simple. I wish you well. So they don't have the same life you have. Nobody has the same life you have. But you can wish them well in their life, right? Just simply, I wish you well. Even when you disagree with them, even when you want forgiveness, whatever. I wish you well. Now, here's the thing. You cannot wish someone else well unless that's already true for you. You cannot love someone without being loved yourself. So we have to connect with that love for ourselves. So if you look in the mirror and you can't go like, I love me, okay, then work on that. That's the first work that you do. You love yourself. And then because you love yourself, then loving somebody else comes easier because you find that place of connectedness that's in you, that's the spirit in you, the God in you, the love within you, the life within you, and you allow it to reach out and embrace others, and it all becomes a part of the world in which you live. Now, I will concede that what you do, you start doing it with someone else and they do not respond to you, or they continue to act in ways you don't like. I will concede that that could happen. But here, know this, it is not your business what they do with the love that you give. It's sort of like when you give to charity. When you give to charity, you let it go. And when you let it go, you let go what happens to it. If you give to a homeless person, you don't go, well, don't buy any beer with that. You see, you just give it to them and you let it go. And you do the same thing with your love. You just love them, you recognize the divinity, and you let them be who they are because they are working their life with God. Not you. You're not responsible for it. And that's revolutionary too. That's revolutionary too. Let us turn within. And so we just simply open ourselves now to that place in our hearts that connects with our mind, that is love. Each one of us is love. We have come from love. We are love. And we stop turning our back on who we are to divide ourselves from the love that we are. And so from this moment on, we are knowing this truth. I am God's loving expression of life in the world. I am the truth of love, walking, breathing, talking, being in the world. I am the love that God is as me. I express it appropriately, perfectly, in all situations, in all conditions. I see beyond the condition of life itself, the difficulties, the problems, the disagreements, the disappointments, to see truly that love is the basis of anything and everything. That just like the trees love each other, just like the cells in our body love each other, just like the oceans, the air, the sky, all of nature is bursting forth in love because God is love. So too are we bursting forth this day with so much love that it cannot be contained within our heart and within the family, the friends, the experience and expressions of life that we know. We must allow it to escape from us and embrace the entire world, regardless of who the person is, regardless of who the people are, regardless of what is going on, regardless of the condition. We are right here and right now experiencing revolutionary, unconditional love for anything, everything, and everywhere. We stop using the casualness of love to recognize, realize, and know that we are that love, and that love is so powerful that it can control, can contain, and can express and be anything and everything we choose to have it be. And so we choose to have it be light and joy and peace and prosperity and wisdom and creativity and all the abundance and goodness we can possibly embody in our own lives. And we allow it to spread out to anybody and everybody in our world who is willing to accept it. And if they're not, we simply let it go and let it be, for we know that God in them, as them, is taking care of the situation, and we don't have to. So we are knowing this truth in this moment. We are experiencing it. We are living it. We are loving it, and we are knowing it in our very being, and our entire life shows it. Our entire experience of life and living demonstrates this truth. Right here, right now, in this moment, we are all changed. We are all evolved into something that is new, something brand new, something loving that is never loved in us, through us, and as us before, because this is a new day. This is a new love. This is a new understanding. And this is a new creative experience of life and love in our world. Right here in this moment, it is done. It is the truth. I know it, I believe it, I accept it, and I let it be in this moment. And so it is. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. All right. Amen, Susan.
Out of love, seasons change their colors, and strangers turn into lovers, and twilight becomes the dawn. Out of love, the wind just keeps on blowing, and children keep on growing, and good is worshipped all day long. Oh, love, love, it's all that makes the world go round and round. Oh, love, 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 all around. Oh, love, love, it's all that makes the world go round. Out of love, trees grow higher and higher, and embers burst into fire, and earth can offer up its gold. Out of love, rivers flow to the ocean, and hard hearts finally open, an acorn becomes an oak. Oh, love, love, it's all that makes the world go round and round. Oh, love, 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 all around. Oh, love, love, it's all that makes the world go round. sometimes friends can feel forgot. You can do your part with just a little bit of love. Open up your heart. Take strength from above. Love, love. It's all that makes the world go round and round. Oh, love, love, love. All around. Oh, love, love. It's all that makes the world go round. It's all that makes the world go round. It's all that makes the world go round. Thank you. Thank
All
you.
right. Yes, it does make the world go round and round and round. Even the trees. Okay, so Marcia, it is time for our conscious giving.
Okay, so good morning, everyone. This is our time to just have me remind you of the many different ways you can support our center. Well, the first way is if you'd like to play with electronic payment, you can use PayPal. The link is in the chat window and it always shows up in the newsletter. If you feel more comfortable mailing a check, there is the address on the screen. I also placed it in the chat window and it also is on the newsletter. And the third way, always like to mention it, if you shop with Amazon, they have a charitable program and the link is in the chat window for you to connect with us so that when you shop with Amazon, Amazon will then be triggered to use their charitable program in our direction. So let's all come together and have our affirmation. I am grateful for the divine givenness circulating abundantly through my life, my community, and my world. And so it is.
Thank you so much, Marcia. So announcements. Well, I have a really big announcement. You know, today is Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all of us. And I think Ruthie has a birthday today. Some little birdie told me. Happy birthday, Ruthie and Rito. Ruthie, I understand she's usually walking around doing stuff, so she's not usually on camera. But one of these days, we're going to get her in person. All right, so Ruthie, happy birthday. Enjoy the rest of your day. And Lily wants me to remind everybody that she sent you an email this week and she invited you to sign up to do some reading. And some of you did not open your email from Lily. It came from CSL West Georgia. It came during the week. It was not a newsletter. And you want to go back and open it up and see what she has to say and sign up for some of those weeks to do some reading. Okay, she's our new volunteer who is arranging for readings. Okay, all right. She reads when nobody else does. So, haha. Now the last 2 weeks she's been reading. So let's all give her some love and step up. Okay, all right. And let's see, I think that, I just want to remind you that we are looking for new space. And so when you're thinking about donating, if you have some additional funds, you know, an extra $5, $10, $15, $100,000 that you can donate to the building fund, we're certainly welcome to receive it. So when you're on that website, the PayPal website, one of the choices you have there is building fund. Okay. All right. I think that is our service for today. So everybody got Mother's Day plans? Go hug your mother if you can. Well, I don't know. Some of us can and some of us can't. But anyway, do what you can. Reach out and touch someone. And remember the mothers who have not necessarily been the mother that birthed you, but she's the mother that is caring for you in your life. The woman who cares for you, even those who are not older than you can sometimes be caring for you. So just reach out and touch people today. It's a good day to do that. All right. I think that's it. Marcia, we have a little bit different kind of video today, but I think you'll enjoy it.
Should stay, I'll only be in your way. So I go, but I know I'll think of you every step of the way. Ask her, that's his sister. And love you. My darling, bittersweet memories. That is all I'm taking with me. So goodbye. Don't cry. We both know that I know what you need. And I love you. Will always love you. I won't like treat you kind, and I hope you have all you dreamed of, and I wish you joy and happiness. But above all, I wish you love. Hey, girl. Get it. You Give me that family, y'all.
Did you hear what he said at the end? He said, "You're my family now." This little girl is probably a stranger, but is that awesome? I mean,
That is
just
awesome.
that just I just saw that and it just brought tears in my eyes. It's just, between his singing and her just being her, and all the people who were witnessing, tell me which one whose life was not changed as a result of witnessing that. Do you see? I mean, something so small. We don't have to do a lot to reach out in love, to embrace the world. So go do it this week and enjoy. All right. Love you guys. Take care. Achika, hang out a minute. I have a question for you. Okay, thank you. We go forth today knowing that we are God's blessing in the world. Only good goes from us and only good comes to us. And so it is.